Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to discuss my nursing journey and how I passed my NCLEX and my family nurse practitioner exam. If you're looking for resources or how to see how I passed my NCLEX, to talk about how I passed my RN NCLEX in 2017, I studied for 3 months, and having studied nursing internationally, I needed that much time to blend my international nursing with the US NCLEX exam, understanding the different concepts in nursing. Is nursing everywhere when it comes to the content of training, but when you're trained outside of the US, you have to learn almost everything anew, right? So the medications, some of the names are so different, right? In my country, we used paracetamol only, right? Here we use Tylenol and so many different things like that, right? The practice, the laws, and the scope of practice, the cover, what nursing here covers, of course, is more. So I used Saunders. Saunders is a very good resource book to use. Having used it and passed my exam, I don't think you can ever go wrong. Since 2017, I have been recommending Saunders to friends, to anyone who asked me questions, who reached out to me on Facebook, and they have been passing their exams. So if you can take your time to study Saunders. When I study, I went to the library every morning, and I came back in the evening 4 times a week. I was working just 2 days a week just so I could study. So I studied that much, and when you want to study, you'll be meticulous about studying, right? I read even the author, the acknowledgement, the preface of the book, right? I read how the NCLEX examination is being marked, right? Is on Saunders. You see what they actually score you for and what they are not scoring you for, right? So you prep yourself, understand the exam, then you know how best to study for it. So I read Saunders from A to Z, answered the whole. They have a practice questions there, and the rationales. You know, internalize them, and I think you'll be good. So it was only 3 weeks to passing my NCLEX, to writing my NCLEX, that I did U-word, right? So U-word is, I heard, is harder than even the main exam, which I actually can say is true. From my own experience, I can say that is true. So U-word is pretty tough questions, and I did that for the last 3 weeks till my exam day, right, when I was done with Saunders. And that's pretty much what I did, even as an internationally trained RN. I did not do any review. I did not pay anybody to study. So those 2 resources were very helpful, and some resources from YouTube. So when you go on YouTube, you have a lot of people teaching about nursing topics and NCLEX topics. Don't use so many resources, because I realized that helped me a lot. When you have a lot of resources, you will be confused. When you plan yourself, you'll derail, because you have a lot of resources. If you cover the respiratory system on Saunders, it's pretty much all you need for the exam. unless there's something there that you don't understand, or you wanted to listen to the breath sounds, so you can go, YouTube the breath sounds and just listen to it and go out from there. But don't have so many resources of doing this review, I'm listening to this person, I'm listening to this person. It has never helped anyone. If they could tell you the truth, the best way to practice to study for NCLEX is to focus on maximum 2 resources. Then you can like check YouTube for this. Like I was checking on some, if I needed more explanation, some, or maybe a video of something to be more realistic or to have a more visual, then I go to YouTube and listen, and just do that. And as soon as I do that, I leave, because when I see that I'm staying on that page, I'm trying to listen, I get confused and I derail. Because when you're writing your exam, it's best to plan. If you have 2 weeks, right, you write respiratory system from this day to this day, 2 days of this, and the practice questions, so when you have so many resources, it's hard, it's very difficult, right, extremely difficult to plan, and it really makes you anxious. It increases your anxiety, and it brings confusion. So just 2 good resources I would recommend that I used that worked for me was Saunders and YouWould. And for my family nurse practitioner exam, I wrote exam right after school. I finished my presentations, my doctorate and everything on April 12th, and I gave myself 4 weeks. Because one thing I would advise anyone who is writing exams, it doesn't matter, any professional exam, is don't look down on this exam. Don't feel like, oh, just 2 days, I'll just go write it. It's just, I just finished school, I'm still feeling fresh. I think when you let the exam look down on the exam tend to look down on you. You tend to write the exam a second time, a third time, a fourth time, fifth time. You could avoid all that stress from the beginning by respecting that exam, respecting your emotions and yourself, saving yourself from this horrible emotions that comes from failure, right? So what I did was give myself 4 weeks. I literally stopped working and I gave myself 4 weeks. So I stayed back home and I studied in between, of course, because studying with stress, some people, they give themselves 2 weeks, they study, they back to back. By the time I was concluding with my doctorate project and presentation, I was exhausted. I was almost sick, right? So I didn't want to give myself so much stress. So what I did, I took 4 weeks. So in between, I would binge on Instagram here and there, and I would be able to watch movies, and I would be able to join my prayer group still and not feel like the stress of preparing for this exam. So in that 4 weeks, I was able to finish Sarah Mitchell review. So I used Sarah Mitchell review. Very fantastic review. Shout out to Sarah Mitchell. Your review was perfect for me. I bought the crash course. It was $135, and they have other comprehensive courses, but I knew that I would be good with the crash course, right? So because I, of course, when we are still to finish up your school, you have to do some exams and some other APEA and some studying. So I felt like I was already there, so I just needed something crash, right? So the crash course was very helpful, and I don't think there's any word on the crash course that I didn't know. I don't think you don't want to know how many times I went through every system on this crash on the Sarah Mitchell. So sometimes even almost repeating after the nurse, right? Like after the teacher, right? When they are saying a word, I already said it, right? So it was that much, because I I don't, the effect of failing exam and going to write it a second time is not something I recommend. I rather just prep, just be ready. So I studied with that. And leak, I tried to finish leak. I couldn't finish leak because I bought it long time, like right in the first year. So by the time I was prepping, they have like 2 more versions already on top of the one I bought. So I didn't want to rely on it so much. So, but I made sure I finished all the questions. I made sure I finished the 700 and something practice questions and rationales. I finished it twice. I went through it twice, and the rationale twice. And I read the book almost maybe 60 to 70% of leak, and that was it, just through 2 resources. So I always recommend 2 resources. You don't want to have so many resources, it's very distracting. So what I did is, like, when I'm resting in bed, I can play. Sarah Mitchell has some videos on YouTube, right? So instead of just laying there, or if I'm trying to rest from just reading and looking at the computer, I can just play the random YouTubes, right? And maybe when I'm driving, I play around the YouTubes for Sarah Mitchell, because there is something good. It's good to have consistency. So when I'm listening to these voices, I'm already used to the voices from the teachers in Sarah Mitchell. I don't want to keep listening. Once in a while, there's this Cohen. If I want, once again, verification, if I want to be more clear about something, a particular topic, then I can go and look at other YouTube review teachers. But I don't go buying their products or going to just having 2 resources. All this more is just confused. Don't confuse yourself. You don't need that. So Sarah Mitchell was so good that the 3 hours exam, I was done in 1 hour 20 minutes, and I passed. So Sarah Mitchell is a good review for your family nurse practitioner, because I wrote the ANPP. So we have the ANCC and the ANPP. So I wrote the ANPP, the FNPC, right? So the ANCC, when you pass, you have the FNPBC behind your name. So I have the FNPC. So then I think pretty much that's it for what I have on this video. I just wanted to encourage someone, if you are still on the nursing journey, you will be fine. Just put in the effort, it will be over. It feels so surreal to me that that I finished. It feels relieving. You will get to that point where you are like, oh my God, I did it, right? I did it. And you want to do it once and for all. You don't want to. One time I was reviewing an YouTube, not to, I know anything. I know some people have like kids, they have 5 kids, they have family problems, they have health issues that might cause them to be writing exams over and over. But don't let the reason be because you didn't prepare well, right? You don't want to write exam. Someone was writing, oh, this is my 8th time, my 7th time, and I felt so bad. And this was before I wrote my exam. I told myself, oh no, I am not coming. I don't want to associate myself with negativity, right? So once I see that, I scroll. I don't want to read the details. So don't associate yourself with failure. Just tell yourself you can do this. Take care of yourself mentally. Be strong for yourself. Be focused. Pray, of course. I prayed a lot. I was in prayers. I wasn't about to be sinning. I was in prayers, and even the morning to my exam, I was like, God, so I don't know what your spiritual stand is, but of course prayers helps a lot. It gives you the confidence and the need, and that God presence that you need to calm down and be able to write your exams well. So I wish you guys success. I wish you all the best in your studying, and I know you will pass. I promise you, if you study well and if you take these little tips that I give. If you have more questions, please always leave it at the comment section. You can always email me. You can always write, ask any questions, and I'll be able to answer your questions by God's grace. So have a nice one. Thank you. If you made it this far, thank you so much again, and I will see you next week. Bye.